Hi darlings, welcome to Night Reads. This is my October wrap-up. I'm so excited to share. Look, I've learned how to turn the camera the right way. I actually fixed my tripod, which I am very excited about. Your girl did some DIY and learned some more tactile skills, which I love. I love being capable. So this is going to be my October wrap-up. We're going to go through some spooky reads. We're going to go through some romance reads. We're going to go through some dark romance reads. We're going to go through some urban fantasy reads with some Korean folklore, which I'm very, very excited to have been introduced to. And also some classics. We have some classics in here and some educational material in terms of like social commentary and learning about female history. So join me for this October wrap-up and stay a while. Grab some tea, grab some spice, get comfy, and let's begin. Hey darlings, welcome to Night Reads. We are going to be going through my October read list, the books I have taken off my physical TBR and read this month. I'm so excited. There have been so many amazing reads this week, like 5-star reads. 5-star. So we are going to start with The God and the Gumiho. Firstly, it is freaking beautiful from all angles. It's absolutely gorgeous. And it's stolen my heart. I have been reading it non-stop for 2 weeks straight. It's been all I've talked about to all my friends. And it's a gorgeous, gorgeous story. So let me see what the blurb shares. We have Kim, Hani, and we have Soka. Kim is a Gumiho, a 9-tailed fox in human form. And Soka is a trickster god exiled and trying to earn his redemption. She, Hani, is trying to conceal her identity and get through to the next day. And it kind of follows their story of saving the city they both live in from terrible, terrible darkness. And in true K-drama style, we have epic fight scenes. We have intense emotional bonds and experiences. We have lots of different arenas. We have like forests and towns and grungy warehouses and all these gorgeous, gorgeous things. We have cryptic messages from the Fae. And there are so many cool like mythological creatures to learn about in this book from like Korean folklore. And obviously it's done from an informative standpoint, but it's not too heavy on the information. It gives you just enough that you kind of get the gist and like the character-based dialogue and depictions and that kind of stuff really tells you a lot. This story is really, really good at showing, not telling, and building tension beautifully. So I am so happy to add The God and the Gumiho to my library. It's something I'm so, so excited to read next year again. I sincerely hope I'll be able to by then. Sadly, greatly, however, when I really enjoy something, my memory of it is super, super strong. So I may not be ready to read it again next year, but I'm so excited for the day I can. So this has probably been my top read of this month, The God and the Gumiho. And it's kind of opened up a whole new genre to me, which I'm really, really excited to read. It's kind of like adventure, suburban fantasy kind of vibes, and it's done really, really well. So I'm really happy I've read this book. The next book I read for a classics book club that I started was Wuthering Heights. Now, I'm going to be honest, I didn't reread the entire thing because frankly, it's so cruel that it makes me want to cry. So I just reread my favourite scenes, which were the scenes where Heathcliff is cursing Catherine, forever leaving him, and literally the scene where they share the line, whatever souls are made of, his and mine are the same. Those scenes of him screaming into the moors at her ghost seared into my brain. Probably the catalyst for my obsession with dark romance, to be honest. It started with Wuthering Heights, guys. And I adore the moors and the wintry weather and the moody, pathetic fallacy. Like for me, when I think of pathetic fallacy, when I think of weather that denotes mood, Wuthering Heights is like the peak example of this. So at least we got to relive that one scene. The next book I read, which I do have the physical copy of, is The Graveyard Shift by M.L. Rio. M.L. Rio is one of my favourite authors of all time. They wrote If We Were Villains, which is a whodunit with Shakespeare students. And the way that M.L. Rio draws together, interweaves so many lives, but fleshes them out. Like, this is a novella, The Graveyard Shift. It's a novella, and yet we know the characters so intimately. We know them so individually. We understand their motivations, and somehow the ending is ambiguous, even though we go through this whole unveiling journey of university mysteries. It's absolutely wild how much Emil Rio packs into a novella. Wild. On top of that, I'm not usually a novella person, so the fact that Emil Rio was able to build intrigue and atmosphere and care, like I gave a crap about these characters in less than 200 pages, absolutely wild. But I'm so happy to add it to my collection. Emil Rio for me is one of those authors that whatever she writes, I'm gonna pick up. It's that kind of relationship. I then listened to, this month was my introduction to audiobooks, I listened to the book In Defense of Witches, which is a book that examines the lasting impacts of the burning of the witches, and all the ways misogyny seeps into our current reality, and all the ways that we condemn and condone magic, and how witchcraft, it's always been a political movement. Female expression has always been a political movement. And so it kind of looks at the everyday female experience and how the cataclysmic cruelty of the witch trials, like the effects are still there today to the same degree that they were back then. In today's society, it's just kind of, the book goes into how it's just kind of changed the words that it uses and changed what it looks like to oppress women. But it's absolutely wild to me that some of the real world examples, like so many real world examples in this book that they use, like the language from the burning trials is the same language that is used today. Disgusting, but at least we know about it. When we're aware, we can change it. When we're aware, we have the power to change and choose. So highly recommend it. Just take some tissues or have a place to put your anger when you're reading it. I then read The Lost Apprentice, which is my first ARC reading. This is a dark academia book that follows a law student who goes to a small town in Ireland to uncover what she suspects is the murder of her cousin. And the backdrop is that all of these law students are set in a game of murder, essentially, by magical means. And the idea is that not all of them are going to make it by the end of the school year. And so there's kind of this mystery set atop the backdrop of this misty, Moorish kind of weather. You see the theme in this month's reading, huh? And it was just, it painted the feelings of the place and the atmosphere of the place so well that it drew me in. And that I really wasn't expecting. I find it's quite a rare and special gift as an author to be able to draw someone so thoroughly into the mood of a place. And it was done so well. So I really enjoyed The Lost Apprentice, and twists and turns and the way things were revealed felt true to the characters, which again is something I really value. I then read 5 by Lily White. This is another 5-star read for me. It's a dark romance, and I'm not saying that lightly. It's a dark romance, okay? It follows, triggers ahead, it follows the story of Rainey, someone who's experienced a hell of a lot of different kinds of abuse. And she's telling her story to, is it Justin, the psychologist who's assigned to her case because she was perhaps involved in a murder. And so there's this whole back and forth between them of, like, is Rainey a victim who somehow survived everything? Is Rainey this super intelligent, skilled manipulator who's just spinning a tale, or who was somehow in control through all of her horrible experiences? Is Rainey a murderer? Is Rainey going to have a relationship with this psychologist, and are they gonna fly off into the sunset, and is he gonna be able to save him the way she wants to? No, is he gonna be able to save her the way he wants to? There we go. And what about Rowan? Rowan, this very, like, protector kind of part of Rainey's life, like, he just, the tragedy of that story. But but like also the whole what happened to him. Like, did he live? Did he die? Did something else happen? There are so many mysteries, and the way it's wrapped up means that even at the end of this story, you're not entirely sure. You're not entirely sure if the perception of Rainey and Rowan is as simple as it appears, that they're just starstruck lovers, or if they are, or if it's all a delusion, or if they're horrible, horrible people who don't deserve a happy ending, and like, does the ending justify the means? Like, this story had me thinking, and even though it went into these really, really dark places, I didn't find it grotesque in the way it was written. It wasn't written for shock factor. Everything had a purpose and a meaning and a pulse. So this blew me away, and again, unexpected. I'm yet to know if Lily White is a new favourite author of mine, or if this for me is a one-hit wonder, but I'm curious to find out. She has another book. I can't remember what it's called. The word The Assassin comes to mind, but it may be a lie, because I know that the book I'm interested in is a stalker dog romance between an assassin and the girl whose dad he murdered. And that's all I know, and I'm in. I'm so curious. So that may be something for next month. I don't know. I have to be in the right mindset to be able to tolerate this kind of stuff. But then I returned to my favorite author on the planet, Nicole Fiorina, with Even When I'm Gone, which is the second book in the Stay With Me trilogy. Oh my goddess, this book was a balm to my heart. Ollie and Mia, if you caught my earlier video, Ollie and Mia just soothe something in my soul, because they're so real, ironically, in how they show up for each other, and they accept every single part of each other, and they fight like hell for their ending to get to continue, right? And the good and the bad and the ugly, it's never put down or unwanted. Like, it's just accepted that the intensity is part of what makes this life so beautiful. But at the same time, everything that happens is given its proper light and weight and time. And they're just truly inspiring, like truly inspiring. And I appreciate that people are held accountable for their mistakes, but also they're always given the opportunity to grow. Which I super appreciate. And the way that Nicole Fiorina of this series just keeps pulling punches with the thriller aspect of things always changing, happening, new layers being added to this story that you hope is going to wrap up real nice. So there's kind of like this juxtaposition of this sweet Ollie and Mia forever kind of vibe with the real gritty, hearty story of them trying to survive in a mental institution, rehabilitation center, educational facility, where all of this terrible stuff keeps happening. And then the ending of this one just sucker punches, because you're like, it was right there. The happy ending was right there. Oh, so mean. And I don't think I'm emotionally ready to reread the last book. So who knows when I get back to that. But yeah, I cannot recommend the series enough. I will always recommend it. You will get sick of it on this channel, but for all the right reasons. That is all of the books I have read this month. I think the next series I'm going to go into is a series by Olivia Blake, the Atlas 6 books. I have read the first book already, but I'm going to try and reread it to see if I actually want to delve into the series, because I don't remember, but I remember when I read it that I really enjoyed the psychological aspect of the book, that there was all this kind of fantastical powers, basically X-Men vibes, but a bit more magical. With like dark academia and kind of psychological thriller kind of aspects, with again like hardcore moral decisions. I love a big moral ambiguity kind of situation in books. So I'm gonna reread the first book and see how I feel, see if I get on with the writing style, and then continue if I can, because I went to the library recently and it was a gorgeous, gorgeous trip with a friend, and we walked away with bags full of books. What else can you want? So that has been my reading month. I'm so excited to see what is going to happen in November, because for me, November is a month of more rest. My Octobers are always incredibly busy in all the best ways. So November, I'll have more time to read and take things at a slow pace and get ready for Yule and craft all of the gorgeous things for all my gorgeous friends. And we'll see what I read in the in-between times. Thank you for staying with me and going on this bookish journey with me. I can't wait to keep learning and growing and sharing, and hopefully adding more and more 5 stars to my shelves. There's a name for this kind of video, and I sincerely hope I remember it for the next one. But for now, thank you for staying with me, and we'll talk another night.